entitled Mr. Wendell. James, please.
Here, have $1. In fact, no brother man here have $2. $2 is a snack for me, but it means a big deal to you. Be strong, serve God only. If you do, sweet heaven awaits. As to call my roll for the first time, I saw a man with no clothes, no money, no plates. Mr. Wendell, that's his name. Nobody knew his name because he's a no one. Never thought twice about spending on an old one till I had a chance to really get to know one. Now that I know that he knows that I'm not charity, he gives me some knowledge, I'll buy him some shoes. And to think all those people went to college and still came out confused. Those lyrics there are the start of a song called Mr. Wendell. It refers to a homeless person and is sung by a group called Arrested Development in 1992. It was a year that I was at college. I was 17 years old, and my perception of homeless people then was far different to how it is now. At the time, a homeless person to me was somebody who hung around the bus station, somebody who was always had a sleeping bag, drinking at 10 o'clock in the morning, begging for money and never washed. And I think most people in this room can picture that type of person. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests, I would like to tell you a story today about how my perception of the homeless has changed. It started off in 2008, 16 years after Mr. Wendell was released. I was driving on my way to an interview when the very same song came on the radio. It was an interview to work at a homeless project. I saw it as a sign that maybe I was going to get the job, and sure enough, 6 weeks later, there I was, driving, making the same journey for my first day. I never knew what to expect. My job was to identify the people who were potentially going to become homeless and work out a programme to help them before it got to the stage when they were going to be on the streets. On the first day, I met a gentleman called Philip. Philip was 20, he was quite presentable, and he came to me very frustrated, very worked up, very upset. He said, I just want a job, I just want to work. Why won't somebody employ me? I said, Philip, I'm sorry to hear that. I said, how many interviews have you had in the last 6 months? He said, none. I said, how many application forms have you filled out in the last 6 months? He said, none. I said, how many application forms have you requested? He said, none. I said, Philip, can you see some kind of theme? He looked at me straight in the eyes and he said, but James, I've been let down so many times in my life, I don't think I could handle another rejection. And then there was Kelly. Kelly loved all creatures, no matter how big or small. We were walking along the pavement once, and we had to stop to move some snails because she feared somebody would stand on them. But Kelly did drugs, lots of drugs, every single night. And one day I said to Kelly, Kelly, would you like some help to sort out your drug issue? And she said, no thanks. And I said, but why not? Why don't you want help with your drug issue? She said, because by going to sleep high every night, it's the only way I get to sleep without thinking about all the times my stepdad abused me. And then there was David. And David was 18 years old. He was training to be a chef at college. And he had lots of debts. He was 18 years old with lots of debts. And one day he asked me if I would take him shopping. He needed to buy a week's worth of food. And I said, of course we will, let's go. So we got in the car, and when we arrived at the supermarket, I said to David, how much money have you got? He said, £7.60. I said, I thought we were buying a week's worth of food. He said, I am. And these weren't three extreme cases. This was the norm. People were coming to me every single day with similar issues. How was I meant to help these people? What was I meant to do? These were all good people who, due to individuals, society, or both, had been faced with all these problems. I was the one that was meant to be helping them. I was meant to be the one with the answers. Or was I? A homeless charity did some work and asked a lot of homeless 16 to 25-year-olds, what's the one thing that predominantly could have been done to stop you from becoming homeless? as I'm sure you can imagine, the array of answers were vast. But there was 2 replies which far outweighed all the others. 1, somebody to talk to sooner, and 2, somebody to be there and listen. That was it. It was simple. What did I have to do? I just had to be there, and I just had to listen. And it just struck me that something which is such a basic human right, and something which most of us take for granted, was the one thing that these people never had. And by just being there, and by just listening, I appreciate it wasn't going to resolve their issue of homelessness. But maybe, just maybe, it was a start. So now, when I see a homeless person, I don't see someone who's been drinking, I don't see someone who hasn't washed, or somebody who is begging for money. I see someone and think, have they ever had anyone to talk to? And did they have anyone to listen? Mr. Wendell, a man, a human, in flesh, but not by law. I give him dignity to stand with pride and realise too that he can stand tall. Go ahead, Mr. Wendell. Thank you.